gosh, I didn't have my microphone on. I got to start over. Hello, everybody. I'm embarrassed. You got to turn the microphone on, Marty. You got to turn the microphone on. What the hell? Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, Marty Johnson, a.k.a. Dawg Knight. I'm going to say hello to everyone again because I just went through that whole list and didn't have my microphone on. Rookie mistake. This is only number 21. But hey, I'm learning. Good morning, Johnny Hellcat, Sarah, Math Queen, Vortex, a new face in the crowd. Nice to have you here. We also got Math Queen, Jason Burns. Did I already said Sarah? Yes. Chadwick Dupree, Dar. Who else? Nits, Nuts, Stargazer Knights. I know everyone calls you Nuts, but I'm going to call you Knights. Or just Star, because you're a star. And, wow, lots of people here this morning. So, good to have you. Yes, I know, no audio, no sound. Rest in peace, whatever that means. Oh, what did I do? Boomer moment. Yeah. I'm going to put you in a time. Oh, you're a moderator, too. I'm not going to put you in a timeout. Good morning, Camel. And Owen Harmon. Pumpkin Trucker, too. Gosh, I got all kinds of people in the chat this morning. I got to detach this. I got to put this on live chat. I don't know if this is everybody, but I guess it is. Close enough. Good morning. Hey, we're here. We're live. I got my reparations coffee. Can you read? This is a funny cup that my son got me because I got to put it where you can see it. Turn it this way. Yeah, I'm the world's greatest father. Anyway, so welcome to the Morning Night Live. You know, my favorite story in the world right now is the Jussie Smollett story, but we're gonna wait. I'm gonna come back to that. We're gonna do Twitter trends first, and then I'll come back to the Jussie Smollett story, just because I want to change it up. Just gonna change it up a little bit because some people might just be getting tired of that story. I'm not. I love that story. Everything about it is just everything I just think the internet is doing right. So, but let's go into some of the Twitter trends first because I just am a glutton for punishment. Let's go in here. I'm going to go back to my homepage on Twitter and we're going to do some Twitter trends, see if there's anything specific people are going to be talking about in the world today. I know that you might want to talk about our good old friend Alexandria or Cortez, whatever. The Alex from the Bronx and her Green New Deal. There's been some funny stuff about that. But let's check the Twitter trends first. Okay, so number one trending thing on Twitter this morning, of course, just like every Monday, is Monday motivation. So let's see if there's any good Monday motivation today. I got to show that rope. Wait. Gotta go back. What the hell is this? Wow. This just happened to me in the Twitter page. There's something wrong. Is that the rope they put around Jussie Smollett's neck? Sorry. Yeah, AOC, Alessandria Ocasio-Cortez. I can't say it. I just couldn't say it. I couldn't get it out this morning. Anyway, no, that's not the rope. Anyway, Monday motivation and Monday morning, and people aren't really creative on Mondays, so those tend to be in the top couple Twitter trends every Monday. And of course, there's a highlighted thing from BitTube because somehow they always get on top. But let's see. Oh, here's a good one. If you don't like the road you're walking, start paving another one. Start a new path. Wow, that's inspirational. I am overwhelmed. Let's see what else. Well, interesting. Few embody Lord Vivek's spirit of adventure and exploration as proudly as the buoyant Armigers. This military order of the Tribunal Temple serves Lord Vivek with dedication and heroic zeal. What the okay. Some of you gamers may know what the hell that's all about, but let's go on. Monday Motivation launched the first all-girls football league. League now includes 400 girls and growing. Sam Gordon, our Monday Motivation, paving the way for the next generation of female football athletes. Yeah, Good. That's fine. I haven't seen nothing wrong with that. Of course, I'm just waiting for the first transgender girl to join that league and dominate. There's a whole thing going on about transgender women in sports, and it's pretty controversial. I may pull up one of those articles in a couple of days. I coach sports, and I coach both boys and girls, and I really enjoy coaching sports, but man, they're just really different. And I don't know if it's socialization. There's some obviously some natural differences that change how they make girls and boys different when they're doing sports. But there are also many physical differences and attitudinal differences that you notice at certain age levels. And boy, I remember I was coaching softball. My daughter played softball and volleyball. And she was a very good volleyball player and a very good softball player. She could hit she could hit the ball. But I was coaching her softball team probably from the time she started playing probably about 4th grade, and I started coaching her in 5th grade. And I noticed that they had the 5th and 6th grade girls together, and they had the 7th and 8th grade girls together. And when she was in 5th grade, I was coaching 5th, 6th grade, and I got kind of this, and they were fun to coach. They were, they're really receptive. They always wanted to learn. They were always super nice and a lot easier than boys, because boys kind of think they know everything. And the girls are much more coachable as far as I'm concerned. I really enjoy coaching girls in sports because they tend to, they listen better, and they just don't think they know it all. They actually listen. And what happened though, when they were in 5th and 6th grade, they're really fun to coach. They're really nice and everything. And my wife always enjoyed coming to games, and I always tell them how much fun we had in practice. And then my daughter's in 6th grade, so they're still 5th and 6th graders, and they were really nice and they're fun to coach. And we had a really good team for 6th grade year. I remember I think we made it to the championship. We lost the championship, but yeah, that's okay. It was a fun year. And then her 7th grade year, we had some of the same girls from our 5th and 6th grade team were on her 7th and 8th grade team. And just all the 8th graders always seemed like they were mad all the time. They hated me, and they hated everything, and none of them wanted to listen to me. And I always got scowls, and it was a pretty good team, but the girls were just so mean. I was like, what? Wait, these are the same girls I coached in 6th when they were in 6th grade, and they were so nice, and now all of a sudden they're so mean. And then I didn't understand it. And then when we got into 8th grade, I coached that last year because I didn't want to coach beyond high school. My daughter didn't want to play beyond that anyway. But and then the girls in her class all of a sudden were so mean and nasty, and the 7th graders were all so nice and sweet, and the 8th graders were so mean. I didn't understand it. And my wife finally said to me, you realize these girls are like kind of in the middle of puberty, right? And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, they were just all going through those changes, and I'm like, oh my God. This is the mean girl years. Yeah, the teen girl bitch years. Oh my God, they were just awful. And I was like, oh, that explains a lot. So that's kind of when I stopped doing that. But then, I coach basketball now, and I coach AAU teams. And our program, you take a team from their 5th grade year and you go through until they go through their senior year. And so now that I understand that, I've kind of taken a different approach and I've figured it out. But oh my God, that was terrible. Why did I start talking about this? Oh, girls football league. Yeah. I don't know. Great, girls want to play football, more power to them. There's one thing though that I noticed too, and maybe you've seen the story too, that there are now some Boy Scout troops in the country that are all girls. I'm confused. You wanted to be in the Boy Scouts because I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, let's go back into Twitter trends. That's Monday motivation. Let's go on. Oh, women in science is trending. Now, why is women in science trending? Let's find out. Well, that's what? I don't know what the hell that. Oh, Creebies, grown-ups. Did you know our show, Bits and Bobs, is inspiring team of women in STEM? Behind the scenes, it's okay. I'm not sure. You know, there's interesting. Here, New Scientist. Don't believe women in science face huge inequality. Here's proof. Interesting. Let's read this article because I want to know why women in science face huge inequality. Now, before I even read this article, you know, I've done a little bit of research on this, and if you aren't aware, STEM fields don't just include like computer science and physics and things like that, but also the biological sciences. They're also science, and the amount of men and women going into college in the sciences are almost equal, probably 50%. However, certain fields of science tend to attract more women: veterinary science, biological sciences, medicine. And so they're a much higher percentage of women than men in those sciences. Also like pharmaceuticals. That's about, well, it's almost 50-50 for pharmaceuticals. But those sciences are dominated by women, whereas the other hard sciences, physics, computer science, computer engineering, are almost dominated by men. So it's just people. There are women in STEM science. They just, for some reason, choose different sciences. Now, maybe because some of the biological science, medicine, and veterinary science are more empathetic sciences, so to speak, where you're dealing with either people or interactive with other people and animals, things like that, where the other sciences are not so much. There are plenty of studies. People don't believe them. They don't believe them because they don't conform to their worldview. But there are studies that saying that there's a reasons why men and women are attracted to different things. Let's read this story. Again, the tweet says, "Don't believe women in science face huge inequality. Here's the proof." Now, if they talk about outcomes in this article, all right, let's just read it. I just hate to even think about it. Let's go. I don't know why this is trending today, but we'll find out. Oh, it's Women in Science Day. That's why. We'll get to that. All right, this is from New Scientist. Now, I don't know anything about this particular magazine or site or whatever, but let's find out. Don't believe women in science face huge inequality. Here's the proof. Scientists read and react to peer-reviewed research, making the pages of leading scientific journals like The Lancet a good venue to fight for gender equality, says Jessica Wade. Now let's fight. Wait, maybe I'll say who Jessica. Oh, don't tell me. Oh, mother. Ugh. This is a premium article and you have to subscribe for unlimited access. I don't want to. I'm sorry. Psych. I'll read the first paragraph. What's the best way to tackle What's the best way to tackle the equality and inclusivity problems in science? In a special publication of The Lancet, researchers doing it with data. It couldn't be more timely. From the gender pay gap. Maybe I'm glad I don't want to get to read this article. To Me Too, women are making their voices heard. The special issue is intersectional. It doesn't only focus on gender, but considers its interplay with other protected characteristics. I'm so glad that I'm not going to read the rest of this article because I just can't. Let me see if this thing in the Lancet has anything though. Let's go. Let's take a deep dive and see if the Lancet does anything for me. Well, here's the Lancet is. I'm just going to read you these headlines. Feminism is for everybody. Funders should evaluate projects, not people. Well, yeah, okay. What if the people are shitty at projects? Preventing the tower from toppling from women's in surgery. Oh, the other thing, like, it's interesting because even in medicine, if you look, it's people go now. Maybe it's just a stereotype, but yes, women tend to go into general practice, pediatrics. What else? They tend to get in certain areas of medicine where men tend to have God complexes who want to be surgeons and anesthesiologists and shit like that. It's just, I don't know. I've been reading a lot of stuff with this. This is my God, there's all kinds of stuff in here. This is the Lancet must be a feminist journal because everything in here, every title is something about feminism. I am not going to read it because I'm not. I'm going to go back. All right, let's go back to what's trending on Twitter. Oh, let's see. Is it Women in Science Day? What is this? Why is this trending today? Why is this trending? There's something about Women in Science Day? Anything? Does anyone know? Any in the chat know why this is trending? Why this might be trending on this particular day? People working with girls need to encourage more risk-taking and praise signs of tenacity. We need to help address girls' fear of failure and see that making mistakes are a valuable part of the path of success in STEM. Again, it's funny how you get this kind of message, but they never mention the fact that women are already a little more than 50% of all the people who are in STEM. They're only talking about certain areas of STEM, which is generally, when they say STEM, they're talking about the computer science, computer engineering, physics. There's plenty of studies. Women interested in people, men interested in things. And that's a generalization on average, as James Damore used to say in that little thing he wrote in the Google memo. And plenty of studies to support it, including there's studies with, what do they call them, metadata? Whatever. Oh, just annoying. Anyway, let's see here. Let's see. 7 practical ways parents can inspire girls to get into STEM. This is the Huffington Post UK. Before you continue, I don't give a crap. What? Oh, fuck off. Okay, I don't care. All right. Girls are turning away from careers in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Well, no, they're not. They're just not in certain areas of those things. By far more women are in medicine and the biological sciences than men, or veterinarian sciences than men. Due to perceptions that the job lack creativity and these subjects are too difficult to learn. Who says so? They're just interested in different shit. And also the other thing is, women tend to have a far more wide range of skills than men. Men tend to be straight line thinkers, where women have a more broader levels of interest and go into different fields. All right, I'm going to stop talking. The survey of 5,000 young people, parents, teachers in the UK found that almost half, 48% of the boys felt confident in their ability to excel at STEM subjects, but less than 1/3 of girls felt the same way. Okay. The research also found gender biases in parents and teachers' attitudes towards STEM. Half the parents and 2/3 of the teachers surveyed admitted to believing stereotypes about girls and boys in relation to STEM. 4 in 10 teachers said they believe gender biases around STEM have already been established in children by the end of primary school. There is no, also the other thing is girls are, and you can find this anywhere, girls are more verbal. I have a daughter and a son. And granted, this is anecdotal evidence, but it was fascinating to me. My daughter's the firstborn, extremely intelligent. She was great at math. She was great at science, but it just wasn't interesting to her. But when it came to verbal things, English, she's fluent in French. She was huge into theater. She enjoyed sports too, and that's the other thing my kids did have in common. They were both into sports. But my daughter could do all those things, but she really enjoyed the theater, the French, all the more verbal things. And my son, who's also very intelligent, just loved the math and science things. And we did not steer them any different way. We never felt like the teacher steered them anyway. In fact, my daughter would went to an engineering camp for girls in 5th grade at the University of Minnesota, and then they invite them back. I think sometime in their middle school and sometime back in high school. And she made, they built remote control airplanes. They made these things and did all this cool engineering stuff. And she really enjoyed it, but it just wasn't her thing. And I've always wanted to go back, and I'm going to go back one of these days and find out how many of the girls that were there in 5th grade, was it 5th grade or 7th grade? It might have been 7th grade. How many of the girls were there the first time, and they invite them to come back. This is a free program. They bring girls from all these different schools to this program, and then they invite them all back their junior year in high school. And I really want to go back and look and find out how many of those girls actually went back, because my daughter said yes, she enjoyed it. She and a lot of the girls around there enjoyed it, but she didn't have any really interest in going back. Again, even though it was fun and whatnot. And I'm gonna bet you that the attrition rate in that program is probably pretty high. So anyway, back into this article. The researcher also found, I already said that. There's no single magic bullet that's going to fix the problem, but there are a number of approaches that can be taken to encourage more girls into STEM. Again, 50% of all STEM fields are filled by women. Just different STEM fields. Said Debbie Farsis, CEO of Tech Talent, the collective working changing the gender skills gap. Here are some of the practical things parents can do to help inspire their daughters to branch out into STEM projects. Well, projects. We tried that. We sent our girl to these engineering camps for girls, and she liked it and she was good at it and they had fun, but she just wasn't interested. It's okay. Don't just rely on schools. Schools are busy places, often with large class sizes and huge pressure on teachers to prepare students for written examinations. Evie Overland, senior lecturer in computing education at Manchester Metropolitan University, said the joy and excitement of practical learning is often not fully released in the classroom, leading to STEM subjects being seen as dull and boring. Yeah, that could be it. I mean, it may be boring, although if they're dull and boring for the girls, they're dull and boring for the boys, right? Or are boys just more interested in things and how things work and how to turn apart? I used to love, when I was a kid, I would take every toy I had, I'd figure out how to take it apart and put it back together, just because I was really into that. That was just something I did, and I still do that now. I fix my own car when I can. I go on YouTube and figure out how to fix something in my engine, and I just do it myself, and it's just something I do. My wife is like, "Can't you pay somebody to do that?" And I'm like, "No, I kind of like doing it. It's just a thing, I don't know." Anyway, the British Science Association suggests that parents look into the STEMettes, an organization which encourages the next generation of girls to get into STEM. Why is there this big push to get girls into STEM? I mean, we're in this free society where you can do whatever you want. I don't know. I have lots of things. I'm just going to give you the list. Do it yourself experiments at home. Find real people to inspire girls. There's plenty. Here's the other thing. There are women who are interested in STEM and they go into it and they do it well and they're very good at it. Great. Okay. Does everybody have to want to go into it? Don't you have to want to do something to go into it? And that's the thing. There's choices, in societies where there's less freedom, maybe there's less choices. I know that there's another study that's saying the more free the society is, the more divergent the gender roles get versus becoming, people doing, what am I trying to say here? I'll spit it out. I think you know what I'm saying. They tend to choose even wider varieties of things rather than constrict themselves to STEM. So in lesser free societies, some women are forced to go into those fields. So anyway, find real people to inspire girls. What's the other one? Challenge stereotypes. Yeah, there might be some stereotypes, but I don't think so. They say that girls are discouraged from going into STEM. Where? Even when I was in high school in the 80s, that's all they did was encourage girls to do things. They didn't encourage boys to do anything. They were always trying to get the girls to do, get into math and get into chess club and get into this and get into that. There's constant encouragement for girls. There's not for boys. And there was no engineering camp free at the University of Minnesota for boys. It was get girls into STEM. Get girls into STEM. Get girls into STEM. Get girls into engineering. Get girls into computer science and math. There's no program for boys like that. They're not encouraged. Boys are just expected to do what they want to do. And maybe I get it. Maybe they think, okay, the girls don't do it because they don't see it as a viable, path. But I think part of it is that there's something in the brain. Maybe it has to do with testosterone and estrogen. Who knows? That affects your behavior. That makes you more interested in what you do. Okay, and what you want to do. And I think that is a factor why there is an average difference between boys and girls on what they choose to do. All right. Ask your daughters questions. Show her what she could study. I'm pretty sure that, well, I don't know what schools are like in the Great Britain, but I know what my kids' schools are like, and girls were encouraged far more than boys to go into these types of things. And then builds girls' confidence. I'm not going to read the article, but anyway, that's the, need some coffee. Hang on. That's the gist of that. All right, let's move on. So I still don't know why this Women in Science thing is trending. Perhaps it's something World Women in Science Day or something. Oh, it is. Okay, yeah, it's Women in Science Day. Ever hear of a Men in Science Day? Oh, that's right. Every day is Men in Science Day. That's what the answer is going to be. Okay. So, I think it's cool that when women are in science, I don't care. Shit, I don't think anybody cares. As long as they do their job, I don't care that at all. Whatever. All right. What else? Let's see what else is trending real quick. I'm going to check a couple things real quick. Oh, yeah, I know. Thank you. I can't remember. Is this Dave doing I can't remember who. Hang on. I'm sorry. Just got to do a little homework here. All right, back to Twitter trends today. Anthony Edwards. Who the hell is? Oh, Anthony Edwards. He's got to be something to do with sports because it's related to Tom Crean. Anthony Edwards is. Oh, this is not a drill. Georgia has landed the #1 player in the country in basketball. Oh my Lord. I should have known that. Interesting. Greatest day of my life. Tough times are fading. Future is so bright. Well done, Tom Crean and staff. Tom Crean used to be an assistant at the University of Iowa when I was at Drake. And he's done a real good job at the University of Georgia. Apparently he's got the #1 prospect basketball in the country coming to Georgia. So good for him. Little highlights of Anthony Edwards here. Going to Georgia from Holy Spirit Prep, wherever that is. I didn't see it. And there's Anthony Edwards doing a dunk. Okay, so Anthony Edwards. What else is going on Twitter trends? Monday thoughts, of course. Monday mood. My gosh, Monday motivation, Monday morning, Monday thoughts, Monday mood. Blah, blah, blah. And then what else? Looks like we have, is this a K-pop star? I don't know. Fans can't already get enough of Taemin. Taemin is trending and never heard of Taemin. Yep, another K-pop guy. My gosh, what's with the K-pop? Do any of you people listen to K-pop? Any of you? What's the deal with K-pop? Why is K-pop so popular? Maybe it's because the time of day. Maybe Twitter's really big in Korea. And so we get this time of day, we always get K-pop stuff. I don't know. Oh, yeah, and trending also APAC. There's a little battle with, what's her name? Our Ilhan Omar from Minnesota. She's a congresswoman who's now from Keith Ellison's district. Used to be. And I noticed on Monkey in the Morning they were talking about that a little bit this morning. She has a little bit of issue, maybe a little problem with anti-Semitism, and so apparently she's been just kind of giving people shit about what's the word? Well, here, let's see. Let's go through some of these tweets because why APAC is trending. So here you go. This is Beta Ungar Sargon. Don't know who that is, but if your criticism of APAC can be replaced by a cartoon octopus with a hook nose, you need a lesson in Jewish history. And if you're out here saying, yeah, using the word Benjamins was bad, but you're abetting the normalization of anti-Semitism by an elected official. She's made a couple references to so-called Ilhan Omar has been making comments about different politicians being beholden to AIPAC and using the word Benjamins, saying they're getting money from Jewish lobbyists and things like that. Kind of a borderline anti-Semitic ways to put things, and that's kind of one of those, dog whistles that people use. And so now the Democratic Party is having a little problem with this. They always accuse the Republican side of the aisle to be the anti-Semites, bigots, and all that, but now they got a couple of their own in a couple of their conversations. Philip Klein here says, worth noting that Ilhan, Minnesota, retweeted this attack on Sheldon Anderson, who is a prominent Jewish donor. The article linked to doesn't mention AIPAC once, so let's not pretend this isn't her attacking Jews. Interesting. So here it says, we're just going to pretend Sheldon Anderson doesn't exist and that Kevin McCarthy is trying to punish Ilhan, the congresswoman, out of sincere commitment to the well-being of Jews. Yeah, well, this is going to be going on for a long time because she's made kind of her thoughts known on all this. The Ilhan Omar AIPAC comment is going to be another skirmish between the old guard and the new blood in the Democratic Party. Weird how professional dog whistle seekers are suddenly hard of hearing. Yeah, they always talk about dog whistles when it's the other side, but boy, there's some big dog whistles coming from this woman. I'm just telling you right now. Howard Dean, let's see what he says. There are two houses about Israel which are sometimes conflated. Is Israel a strong democratic ally of the U.S.? Yes. Is Netanyahu undermining Israeli democracy and violating basic human rights? He says yes. And has AIPAC become an arm of the Republican Party? Despite their protests, yes. Interesting, because there are a lot of Democratic senators who are also associated with AIPAC. So, Howard Dean, you can just blow it out your underwear. Kirsten Simeon, our support for a secure Israel as a beacon of democracy must remain unwavering. Proud to speak at AIPAC's Phoenix dinner last night about strengthening and deepening this alliance. Yeah, Kirsten Sinema is not a Republican. Old ex-governor Howard Dean. I'm sorry, it's not just the Democrats who have ties to AIPACs. Whatever. Why is anyone surprised that a Muslim person doesn't like Jews? Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just how it is, Now, the lady can have her opinion, but to imply that that people just do things for the money, which some of them do, I guess not. Okay, yeah. But look, so I've never really looked at Ilhan Omar's Twitter handle. Her description of herself: mom, refugee, intersectional feminist, 2017 top angler of the governor's fishing opener, and congresswoman in the Minnesota 5. Join me. That's funny. Yeah, she did every year Minnesota. I don't know if you're familiar with Minnesota, but we have a lot of lakes in Minnesota. We are called the land of 10,000 lakes, although there's over 12,000 lakes that are a square mile area or more. I mean, and fishing is huge in Minnesota. The fishing opener in the state of Minnesota is like, and the funny thing is, fishing opener is usually right around Mother's Day weekend. And you'd be amazed at how the fishing opener is way bigger than Mother's Day here. Anyway, the governor of the state, whenever there's a governor of the state, the governor always has to make a, big presentation of having the governor's fishing opener party. And Ilhan Omar was the one who caught the most fish 2017. So that was that was kind of cool. I have no interest in this woman at all as far as a politician, but I thought it was kind of cool that she was the one who won the fishing opener, the Somali woman. That district has a lot of Somali people. There's a lot of Somalians in Minnesota. For some reason, they gravitate here when they come over, and that's great. I mean, I have some friends who are Somali, so I can't say anything about it that way. But anyway, AIPAC, you're going to be hearing a lot about AIPAC. CNN, freshman Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar is facing backlash after suggesting public support of Israel is fueled by donations from the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, a prominent pro-Israel group. Sinema's not a Republican. Marco Rubio, bipartisan support for Israel is because it is the only pro-U.S. free enterprise democracy in the Middle East. Duh. It is a Jewish homeland created in the aftermath of the Holocaust. Right. Whether you like Israel or not, those two things are correct. And so, I guess the United States feels some obligation to make sure that the state of Israel is, safe and whatnot. Although Israel can take care of themselves, man. Their military is probably the most efficient in the world. They're not the biggest, but they've whatever. I know that there's people who don't like AIPAC. I like Caitlin Johnson. She's an independent journalist, I can't remember the name of her place, but she's a big critic of Israel. So let's read this one. Whenever you ask an Israel cheerleader what criticism of AIPAC wouldn't be anti-Semitic, they give these blurry, flexible anti-Semitism means whatever I want it to mean answers. Number two, can and will be spun to apply to literally any Israel lobbying or campaign funding, for example. Well, yeah, it is used that way in a sense, but usually the people who bring up AIPAC, anyway, they're usually doing some similar. It usually means Jew. I'm just saying. All right, so that's AIPAC is trending today. Let's see what's the last one. Bob Sutton. Have no idea who Bob Sutton is, so let's find out who Bob Sutton is. Bob Sutton, Stanford professor who studies organizations. Books include bestseller Good Boss, Bad Boss, and Scaling Up Excellent. Latest, The Asshole Survival Guide. Now, why is Bob Sutton... Oh, it's a different Bob Sutton. I'm like, why is this dude trending? Who's ever heard of this Stanford professor? No, Bob Sutton has been hired by the Atlanta Falcons. He's the former chief defensive coordinator. Okay. Why is this professor trending? No, it's Bob Sutton, who used to be the defensive coordinator of the Chiefs, is now going to the Falcons. I don't know if you're a Falcons fan, if that's good or bad, but the Chiefs have been pretty good the last several years. So, congratulations, Bob Sutton. All right, that's enough of Twitter trends. Let's all right, it's time for the Jussie update. Now, let's see. Now, someone sent me something, too. Let's see what... Let me just check that real quick. I thought that might have been the article I was going to read anyway. But let's check this out. Go back up here. It's right... here we go. Oh, no, that's not it. What the hell did I do? Okay, see, when you go on a show that flies by the seat of its pants, sometimes this happened. Let me read get into the chat real quick, because I am missing stuff. Hey, Scribe! Oh my gosh! I'm so honored, sir. Let's see, who else is in here? Tarkata. It was funny because I warned her what it was all about. She came back. What? Okay. Oh, I missed something here. Well, here, I'll go to the bottom here. Why would anybody be surprised that a Muslim person doesn't like Jews? We already talked about that. Same situation in the UK. The Labour Party imported thousands of reliable voters from the Middle East, now has a huge anti-Semitism problem. Yeah, that's a theme in lots of Europe right now. You know, you're going to see that it's happening in Germany. Well, not that they don't traditionally have their own problems, but, you know, and it's always been a touchier subject in Europe. What I find funny about Israel, Democrats won't fund border barrier in the United States, but every time Israel asks for money to build a wall over there, they approve it. Yeah, you know, that's the weird thing. All right, so let's get into a little Jussie Smollett action. Now, the other day, I was going to write a Twitter thread on this, but the other day, DeRay McKesson, who is my favorite, most prolific grievance grifter, hashtag grievance grifter, use it. He started this thread about why is the Chicago Police Department intentionally spreading misinformation about Jussie Smollett. Even if I didn't know him, I'd be concerned just about the way information has leaked via sources within the Chicago PD to reporters, and it's been since day one. Now, I found this to be really interesting because he's been very critical of Weigel, the guy, I think his name's Dave Weigel, who has been tweeting about this, and he's been Ray for Weigel. And he's also been, he hasn't been criticizing of the guy from ABC, but he's been the Fox affiliate in Chicago and Rob Elgas, the ABC affiliate, have been all over the story. All right, so let's read DeRay's thread here, and we're going to go through it bit by bit because there's a lot of bullshit in here. So he says, it was reported that sources within the Chicago Police Department said that Jussie refused to release his phone records. No, it was not said that. That was not said. It was said that he refused to give over his phone after they did a second interview where he said that he and his manager were on the phone during the attack. He refused to give over his phone. That's how it was reported. That's the way Rob L. just reported it. In fact, let's go in here. I had this in here. Here we go. Give me 1 second. It's right up here. I apologize for this taking more longer than I'd like. All right, so right here, Gas Recordings manager says of the small attack, I'm just glad I was the old man in the apartment when he got there, responsible for blah, blah, blah. Where did they put it? Anyway, all right. So anyway, I apologize. I can't find it, and I thought I had it already set up. But they said, yeah, he said that he would not give her his phone, not the phone records. And so then DeRay writes, then he quietly noted that he never refused to give up the phone records. He denied giving them his phone. They don't need his phone to access his phone records. That's not why they asked for the phone. They asked the phone just to see the timestamps on the call that he made, supposedly was on the phone with his, his friend, his manager, and he did not handle the phone. No one said the phone works. Now, and so what later they said they were going to attempt to subpoena the phone records since he would not hand over the phone. So DeRay's got that wrong. Then he says, then sources said that Jussie's ribs are broken, but neither the hospital nor Jussie's team ever said that his ribs are broken. But the sources, quote, made Jussie out to be a liar when he never said that in the first place. Really? Let's look at the original report from TMZ. Empire star Jussie Smollett was brutally attacked by two men who beat him up, put his head in a noose, and screamed, "This is MAGA country." Sources directly connected to Jussie tell TMZ the actor arrived in Chicago from New York late Monday around 2 a.m. He was hungry, went to Subway, blah, 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 blah. The two men, both white and wearing ski masks, viciously attacked Jussie as he fought back, but they beat him badly and fractured a rib. Was that police sources, as DeRay McKesson says? No, it was sources connected to Jussie. Now remember, if you've been watching me a few days, you know what I think. The reason the police had a second interview was because the TMZ report had this information about two men, both white, wearing ski masks, and also the part about they screamed, "This is MAGA country." In the original police report, where's my little PDF here? In the police report, there is nothing that says anything about them being white. It says he had no description of them because they were wearing ski masks and gloves, and there's nothing about MAGA country. So the police called him back after all this. It was, TMZ reported, and then every news outlet in the country was reporting about the MAGA country line. The police called him back because they're like, wait a minute, you didn't tell us about these guys being white. You didn't tell us anything about this MAGA country thing. Jussie tells them, oh yeah, that happened too. And then his manager said, yes, we were on the phone at the time of the incident. I heard it over the phone. That's the only reason they interviewed him again. So my theory is, if you're looking at the timeline of what time this was published by TMZ, which was about 8 a.m. Pacific time, which would have been roughly 11 a.m. Central time, after he got back from the hospital and after they finished all the things with the police that morning, this manager is probably the one who called TMZ or somebody on that team. That started getting around their team. Lee Daniels put out his thing. What time was Lee Daniels? Was at 11. Look at this, 11 a.m. Pacific time. So that's at 2 and 3 in the afternoon Central time. But so during all this time, somebody on his team contacted TMZ. Then the police later was like, well, we needed this information. How'd they find out about this? I think the manager told them. I think the manager called TMZ right off the bat. All right, here we go. So now DeRay is complaining. Then sources said that Jussie didn't call 911 for 40 minutes after the attack. No, what sources said that? The police sources didn't say that. Why don't we have the timestamps from the 911 calls yet? That's irrelevant. It is my understanding that the call was made immediately, but that it took 40 minutes to arrive. Well, we already know that the call wasn't made immediately because in the interview, they said that this happened at around 2 o'clock. Then he went into the building. The manager had to convince him to make the call, and then they made the call. The police showed up 45 minutes after the attack. This is irrelevant, what DeRay is saying here. He goes on. Then, quote, sources loudly said that there was essentially no video of anything. No, who said that? Nobody said that, DeRay. But at the same time, sources said that the police had video of Jussie in Subway, walking down the street, and had various other footage. Again, this was quietly reported. No, it was reported by local Chicago sources, because none of the national sources are following the story anymore. They got their story. They got their hate crime. They got their mega story. They're not following it. But the local sources haven't given up on this, because the police are still investigating, and the only people following it are the local Chicago sources. Then sources said that Jussie couldn't have actually been hurt because he drove himself to the hospital. Nope. In fact, it was reported on the first day, I think even by TMZ. Let's see what TMZ says the first day. Well, no, TMZ said Jussie took himself to Northwestern Hospital. TMZ got their information from sources directly connected to Jussie. TMZ got it wrong. That's who got it wrong, not the police. Ray's trying to blame this on the police. Then sources... No, and also early in the second day, they said that the friend, I can't think of his name off the top of the head, but he's the one who took him. That's not even disputed. What police did say is that they offered to give transport to Jussie to go to the hospital to get checked out, but he refused, and his friend ended up taking him. Later, so back to DeRay. Later, sources cleaned that one up and noted he was driven to the hospital by a friend after the police had interrogated him at his home. And yeah, interesting word, interrogated. They interviewed him to find out what was going on. They weren't interrogating him. He wasn't a suspect. He was the victim. Then he continues. Then we learned that a woman in Jussie's condo building saw someone outside the building in the time frame and reported this to the police. Then sources discounted her account by saying the description didn't match Jussie's description of the attackers. Okay. Part of the problem is the woman said that someone was hanging around the garage carrying a blue and white rope clothesline. She read it in the paper that she'd been reading along that it was a clothesline. She said it was a blue and white clothesline. However, police already knew that it was just a white clothesline. So she was lying. She tried to make some shit up. And so there. Then he complains. First, sources said that Jussie kept the rope around his neck to the hospital. Then sources later corrected the story to note that Jussie had the rope around his neck when he arrived back in his building when police arrived. Why did the sources lie initially? Well, they didn't lie. You know, a lot of this story, if you read a bunch of different accounts of it, if you noticed, all these different news outlets and things that are reporting the story aren't going back to the original sources. Now, I've been going to the local sources in Chicago and getting the stuff that the police, directly from the police. They pretty much, this Rob Elgus and Ray Ferweigel, pretty much just report what the information the police give. Everybody else has been playing telephone. They're all adding little details that weren't in the original story. TMZ had stories from, whatever the source they had from Jussie's team. Those are the sources that are at issue. DeRay's just trying to make it sound like the police are feeding misinformation to the public, which I don't think they are. And also, first of all, most people get the story wrong anyway. If you actually follow the story, he walked home from Subway. The attack supposedly happened. He went up to his apartment. His friend said, we got to call the police. He said he didn't want him to. Then they call the police. The police show up and do all the interviews about the attack and then offer to take him to the hospital. Then he goes to the hospital. That's the timeline. Some people think he went to the hospital first because some of the stories are wrong. Okay, but if you actually follow the story, the interview was before the hospital. And he did have the rope around his neck when the police arrived. So the sources didn't lie. You just got it. Some outlets just got the story wrong. DeRay continues. Recently, sources said that Jussie arrived home with the food he purchased from Subway in his hand, as if to suggest that if he had really been attacked, he would have immediately thrown away everything he had. That doesn't imply that. All they're saying, it didn't imply anything. All they're saying is, when they have video of him walking in the building, after the 60-second gap of the only bit of time frame where they don't have him on picture, when he came back on the camera, he had a rope around his neck, and he was carrying a Subway sandwich. No one knows if he was carrying his phone in his other hand. He just had a sandwich. That doesn't say that he was going to throw away the sandwich. Hell, if you're hungry, you got to eat if you have your sandwich. But the question is, how's he walking around with his Subway sandwich and he's talking on the phone, and then he also is fighting off two, rope-carrying, bleach-carrying attackers who brutally attack him in the span of 60 seconds, and he gets one little scrape across his cheek and maybe a bruised rib that we don't even have a confirmation of that yet. And that happens in a 60-second span, and then you fight them off and still walking through with your sandwich very calmly into your building, right past security without calling 911. Duh, that's the question. And this is a great example of the reporting that has been happening per the leaks from Chicago PD. When pressed, the reporter brazenly notes that he's just blindly repeating what he's told by the police department. And he's complaining about Rafer Weigel. I reported what police told me. That's what reporting is. I can't help it if they didn't tell anyone else. Now, here's what that was in reference to. So, some fab Miss M smart, whatever this name is. Hey, Fox 32, are you okay with this rumor being spread by anchor Rafer Weigel about Jussie Smollett's attack that is still under investigation by the Chicago police? I can find no evidence of this anywhere. And the rumor started with Rafer's tweet, and that she's referencing Chicago police source tells Fox 32 News that Jussie Smollett was seen on surveillance still holding his Subway sandwich when he returned to the building after the alleged attack. And she's asking, well, where's the evidence of this? I can find absolutely nothing about it, except that it started with your tweet. Do you support blah, blah, blah? Well, if that's what police told him, that's what he's reporting. Just stupid. So he said, I reported what police told me. That's what reporting is. I can't help it if they didn't tell anyone else. One of his sources told him that. That's how you report things. So they're mad about that. And then finally, in all, it's been wild to watch people blindly repeat every little detail leaked from the Chicago Police Department as fact. That's rich. All the people who are talking about broken ribs, they're repeating that as fact. He did not have broken ribs. All the people, what else? Oh, all the people repeating. There were actual news articles with the headline, Jussie Smollett hospitalized after vicious attack. He was never hospitalized. People repeating that as fact. I don't know, all kinds of things. All kinds of things. People repeating that these were white people as fact. That was never a fact. That has not been established fact yet. Some people saying that the pictures of the two homeless guys that they put pictures out of that were persons of interest, some people were describing them as the attackers. They were stating that as fact. That is not a fact. So DeRay saying, in all, it's been wild to watch people blindly repeat every little detail leaked from the Chicago Police Department as fact. Whatever. And then he says this. So Andrew Guglielmi, who is the police spokesman for the police news or whatever, he says, I'm familiar with A. Guglielmi because he once had the same PR role and tactics in Baltimore. We all deserve better. Jussie is the victim here. FYI. Yes, and they're unbelievably, they are still treating him as a victim. I don't think that's going to be the case for much longer. Although my Friday prediction was wrong. They didn't have a news dump. I was expecting a Friday's news dump saying that they don't no longer believe him. However, there are plenty of stories out there. Let's get back into this. I'm going to, now I can dump this. Uh-oh, let's see. Maybe Ray for Weagle has something new. Oh, here's a great column though. This was on Mediaite. And John Ziegler he used to be, I can't remember if he was with CBS. He used to do one of those crime shows, but then he fell out of favor with a lot of the media because he has some more conservative leanings, and that can't happen in the media. But he has a great article here on the behind the scenes about what's going on with this case, and let's just go through this a little bit. Behind the scenes, it's clear that Chicago media and police doubt Jussie Smollett's story. I can't recall a large crime story where there's a bigger gap between what police and media are saying publicly and what they're expressing behind the scenes. That the saga involving the recent alleged hate crime against actor Jussie Smollett. Similarly, there may not be a story where you can tell more by what has not happened in comparison to what has actually occurred. So the current public stance of the Chicago police is earlier this month at 2 a.m. They talk about him getting attacked. So Smollett was a victim of what appears to be a heinous hate crime where he was physically attacked by two men and humiliated due to his race, homosexuality, and possibly his opposition to President Donald Trump. The Chicago media, in official reports, has largely treated that narrative as legitimate, while chronicling the complete lack of suspects and corroborating evidence as more of a frustration than any indication that something else might be going on here. However, behind the scenes, based on conversations I've had with multiple people covering the story, there is a radically different take on what it really happened to Smollett. That's appropriate in my eyes. That's my side there. In short, there's a near unanimity among police sources that Smollett's story is very likely not true, and that even media outlets still regurgitating the current party line really don't believe it. So yeah, you're starting to see, here's a good sign as far as what I'm concerned that people are not believing this story. Last night, the Grammy Awards, where's the Grammy Awards? The Grammy Awards happened last night. And I didn't watch the Grammy Awards, but usually whenever something happens at the Grammy Awards, it's reported somewhere. I don't think there was a single mention of Jussie Smollett at the Grammy Awards. Either someone at the Grammys said, do not mention this because it's not looking true anymore and you're going to make us look like fools, or nobody believes it anyway. Nobody mentioned this at the Grammy Awards. That's pretty amazing to me. Anyway, all right. So the first thing you need to understand about this situation is that because of Smollett's persona and the nature of this allegation, no one in law enforcement or news media wants any part of publicly questioning his story. Everyone knows that if they make any sort of negative implication against a black, gay, liberal celebrity, victim of a horrible hate crime, they will be roundly and severely attacked regardless of whether they turn out to be correct. I get a little bit of this on Twitter because let me just say that I tweet about this a little bit too if you follow me on Twitter. As a conservative, this is Ziegler talking. As a conservative, I look at this as his political correctness force field. Smollett's protection here is literally about as strong as it gets, especially in Chicago, a city that has a large black population and is extremely liberal. So, in this hypersensitive media environment, any sort of deviation from the accepted storyline by the police or the news media, much like if your 7-year-old kid is showing subtle signs they no longer believe in Santa Claus, must be given exponentially greater significance than it normally would. Here, both the police and the news media in Chicago have provided plenty of those types of veiled indications, both publicly and privately. They're afraid to even say what they think might be the truth until they have the truth. That's the bottom line. Among other things, police have made it very clear that they have not yet found any proof of an attack, despite having almost all of Smollett's movements on video for surveillance, all but 60 seconds. You know, let me go have another side here. You know what? I'm guessing right now what they're doing, because they said they found some more footage. I'm sure they're trying to find more footage of the place where the attack might have happened. But I know that they found they found the type of rope this was, and they found some retail outlets that may carry it. So I know they're looking in those retail outlets to see if they can find anyone who bought the ropes. But, you know, I bet, I'm going to guess. So they say that Smollett walked to Subway. So they have all his movements between leaving Subway and going back to his place. But I want to see if they're going to come up with his movements before he went to Subway. How did he get to Subway? Did he come straight from his place? Did they have video of him going any place before he went to the Subway, you know, to get a sandwich on the way home? You know, what other video do they have of Smollett walking around Chicago at 2 in the morning or so after he just got on a flight? That would be it. That's what I would be looking at right now. You know, and they can play this off like saying, "Oh, well, you know what? We wanted to see if anyone was following him before he went to Subway. Did he happen to go anywhere else before there? Did he go to the Target store a block away? Did he go to a club before he got there? There's got to be some other footage. That will be interesting." Anyway. So going on to this article, in my view, none of those important revelations would have been made public in the way that they were, unless there was an extreme suspicion within the police force that Smollett's story was not fully accurate. By extension, media figures would not be being told by their police sources, as I've been told is currently happening both routinely and with vigor, that the authorities are acting on the assumption that they will never find any evidence to fully substantiate Smollett's story. This isn't just happening via idle speculation either. The police are doing so with great specificity, even including an alternative theory for what really happened. Current attempts to find the origin of the rope found around Smollett's neck long after the event was over are believed to be the most likely game changer, if there ever is one in this case. Yeah, finding out where that rope was bought and who bought it. Was it Smollett himself who bought the rope? Did one of his people, you know, around the Empire set by the rope? Did his friend that supposedly picked him up in the airport and picked him up to take him to the hospital by the rope? Where'd this rope come from? Who bought it? I remember about one day into this, I said, you know, I bet you anything Jussie stopped at Target and bought that rope. As for the Chicago media, a couple of local television reporters are apparently using Twitter as a confessional for information about the case that their stations currently fear to air. Rob Elgis, that's my guy, of the Chicago ABC affiliate, and Rafer Weigel of the Fox station, who a lot of people, you know, he's getting the most shit because the word Fox in his station's name, and so they associate that with Fox News. I don't know if people realize that Fox Television and Fox News are only tangentially related. And like, for example, the Fox affiliate here in the Twin Cities is just as liberal as all the other stations. I mean, they're just a local news station. You know, they just happen to have a Fox affiliate name, but the stations are local. They are local type people. In fact, Rob Elgis is not a fan of the president, or not. I'm sorry, Rafer Weigel. I mean, if you look at some of his other stuff, it's not. He's no sycophant by any stretch of the imagination. Anyway, so these two have continually updated the developments or lack thereof in a way that paints a much different picture from the one that viewers would see on an actual newscast. And so, yeah, the fact that I'm following these guys, I'm getting a way different picture than any of the other articles I'm reading. There's still articles that I read that came out a couple days ago saying that this happened the way Smollett does it, and they're talking about how he's recovering, still recovering. Recovering from what? He already did a concert where he's danced around where he didn't seem to be in any pain whatsoever. It is very obvious that if one major news outlet in Chicago has the guts to be the first to openly discredit Smollett's story, the others would soon follow the leader. But because the risk of being wrong in this situation, see Smollett's PC force field that he's got that's around him, don't question a gay black man who's a celebrity. There is just no incentive to take that dive until and unless the police finally make a definitive statement. I have written previously about my skepticism about the case and speculated that this story would quickly disappear because there is no way it would get conclusively solved, and no one in authority will have any appetite for the perils of debunking a story from someone like Smollett. However, Weigel tweeted out some rather candid thoughts yesterday, which gave me a slight hope that maybe we will actually get to the truth of the matter, though if that truth is indeed as those closest to the story suspect that it is, the news cycle created by that shocking disclosure will probably be exceedingly short. Yeah, if it comes out to be, the news cycle about him being attacked is still going. As soon as they report that this was a hoax, probably won't hear about it. Probably this will just be over. So here's what he said. Since so many have asked me if Chicago police will let Jussie Smollett case go unsolved, I'll give my opinion. Given the high-profile nature of the crime, I don't believe so. I believe they'll either find the perpetrators responsible or charge Smollett with filing a false report, which they've already said that they will do that. Chicago is already dealing with a negative image when it comes to crime. Proving Jussie Smollett made up the story would go against that narrative. Conversely, the Chicago police bringing any suspects to justice for this horrible crime would bolster the department's image. So, so there you go. MAGA country, bitch. Yeah, it's not MAGA country at all. And so there's my transition. I screwed that up. Okay. All right, let me do this. Just checking the chat here real quick. Maybe maybe it was the one-armed man. Yes. What's that from? That's from what's that called? Help me with that one. The Fugitive. The Fugitive. Yeah. Maybe it was the one-armed man from The Fugitive. Anyway. All right. So that's my Jussie Smollett update. We'll close a few windows here. Rob Elgis. Is Rob Elgis have anything new, by the way? Let's go down here. It looks like the last thing Elgis has put out about this. Yeah, he's still that. Remember, we reported Jussie Smollett did ask officers to turn off body cameras after they disclosed to him they were wearing them. This is CPD policy. We already knew about that. All right. And let's see here. Oh, yeah, this WGN story that took out. I had this one, too, and I'm glad you reminded me of that one. So police narrowed down the type of rope used in an alleged Jussie Smollett attack. Police said they narrowed down the type of rope. Similar to a rope that used as a clothesline, detectives have identified local stores where it's sold and are reviewing surveillance video from those stores. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, the best. I'll laugh my ass off if this happens because I said it the first day. If they have video of him walking through a Target checkout line with a row of clothesline, I will laugh my ass off. I'm just telling you. At this point, police have not found anything that conclusively proves that Smollett was indeed attacked. The actor told police that two men seemed to know who he was before they beat him. They beat him. They beat him. He got a little scratch. They beat him. Is anything about the story make sense? Two guys supposedly beat the hell out of you with the rage and hate of homophobia and racism. 2-on-1, beat the hell out of you. get a rope around your neck and pour some caustic substance on you. It just happened to be carried around at 2 in the morning at 10 below weather or whatever the temperature was. And all you get is a little scratch, and they can't even prove you had a bruise. There's no scratches around your neck where the rope they put around your neck was. I mean, you saw the pictures of him, at when he's doing his concert. Someone puts a rope around your neck. I mean, how do you fight off people with the guy to put a rope around your neck? Don't they have to do it are you going to let someone put a rope around your neck from in front of you? So someone's beating you and the other guy's putting a rope around your neck and you don't have a single scratch on your neck? And you still have your sandwich? Yeah, Sarah, you still have your sandwich? And all this time you have your sandwich, you're talking on the phone and you're beating these guys off? Are you like some kung fu master? Sandwich chop. It's just the whole thing's bullshit. I'm not even going to read the rest of this. The point is they got the rope. I heard about the hot sauce bottle. That's another one. Oh my God, the hot sauce. Yeah, someone found a hot sauce bottle, and they had now all these detectives searching all these areas all these days, and then someone comes up with a hot sauce bottle that had some bleach on it. You know how hot sauce bottles work, right? They usually have the little tiny. It has a little tiny hole. Unless it has one of those little plastic things you flip out. Who's carrying around a hot sauce bottle full of bleach? And why? That's even stupid. People are making shit. Like that lady who said she saw the guys hanging around the garage. She lied her ass off. She'd been reading the stories, heard the clothesline story. The last clothesline she ever saw was one of those clotheslines that have the blue stripe down it. So she thought, okay, I'm going to say that I saw someone carrying a blue and white clothesline when it was just an old-fashioned white clothesline. There's couple different kinds that you can buy when you buy that type of rope. So she was lying her ass off. They should probably arrest her for a false police report. Oh, man. Tuna chop instead of tuna. Yeah, tuna chop. Yeah, it was a tuna sandwich. He beat them. I almost said he beat them off with the tuna sandwich, but that's not cool. That's not cool. That's the dad joke I'm not going to be telling. He fought them off with a tuna sandwich and a telephone. Yeah. He must be from that wardrobe shop from that one movie. What's the movie where the English guys, they work out of a wardrobe shop, a clothing shop? Someone will know what movie I'm talking about immediately. But yeah, he fought him off with a phone and a tuna sandwich. Good God. All right. Anything else? All right. I got one funny thing that I thought was hilarious. So somebody was pissed off about Saturday Night Live this weekend, and I just found this little thing. The Kingsman. Yeah, that's the movie. Someone was pissed off about Saturday Night Live. Apparently Saturday Night Live did a skit about the congresswoman who were all wearing white, and they kind of made this thing about they're kind of superheroes. They're kind of a Charlie's Angel style skit. But people were pissed off that they even took the time to actually make fun of Democrats instead of just Trump. And so this dude, Jussie Hawkins, he says, what was SNL hoping to achieve here? Are they making fun of the Democrats? Do they ever make fun of the Republicans? They used to make fun of Jimmy Carter. Of course, it's funny. And I swear to God, the actress that can do Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she should be making mega bank right now because she should be in every one of their skits because she's funny. The woman is funny. I laugh at her. She's getting a lot of attention, but she's just someone to laugh at. But anyway, what was SNL hoping to achieve here? Are they making fun of the Democrats? Are they trying to mock AOC or women in politics? Remember when they had Trump host the show? They make fun of Trump every blessed week. Okay, this is some equal opportunity in making fun of people. So someone down here says, this guy says, humor. It's a show about humor, I think. So this guy is like, well, what did you think was funny? I'm not sure what the joke was here. And this is maybe perhaps my most brilliant comeback in the history of Twitter for me, which is, nothing to write home about. So what did you think was funny? I'm not sure what the joke was here. Right now, your response to it. Yeah, so anyway, I thought it was funny. Whatever. Anyway, I don't even know why I had that up. So we already did the PJ Media. What's this? Yeah, I had another article from PJ Media, but I'm not going to read it. Enough of Jussie. Enough of Jussie. I've had enough. And actually, you know what? To be honest, it's time for me to go. I actually almost started to stream on time today, which is a first, but I do have to end it on time today. I was so tempted to go into headlines. So tomorrow I am going okay, here's my thing. Unless there is a major update on the Jussie Smollett case, I'm not going to talk about it tomorrow. Wow. Well, we'll try. We'll try. I'm going to try not to talk about Jussie tomorrow unless there is a major update. Unless they find the purchaser of the rope. Unless they definitively come out and say that this shit did not happen. Or unless or if they find out where he was before he went to Subway. That's what I want to know. I don't care about what happened between him leaving Subway and getting home when this attack officially occurred, because they already have all but 60 seconds of that. That's why they're skeptical. Now I want to know, where did he go from the time he left his place on his way to Subway? Between that time, where did he go? Where did Jussie go? Where did Jussie go? That's what I want to know. Anyway. All right. So that's it for the stream for the day. Tomorrow we're going to talk about some headlines of the day. There's so much stuff I'm missing. I wanted to talk about the Green New Deal. And I wanted to talk about some other things that are happening. Oh, by the way, here's something that's important. Hang on. It's Girl Scout cookie time. Now, I have a neighbor, and her boys are in the Boy Scouts, and they sell wreaths during Christmas, and I always buy wreaths from them and whatnot. And the daughters are Girl Scouts, and they they're selling Girl Scout cookies. Buy some Girl Scout cookies. Now they have these new ones. They're called Thank Yous. They're shortbread, and they have chocolate on the back. Oh my gosh, those are good. I love those things. So I don't mean to chew on the air, but they're so dang good. I love them. All right. Yeah, I know. P-Dog sparkles. So anyway, it's that time of year again. I was wondering why I've been jonesing for some Thin Mints. Yeah, I got some. Oh, man. So, and my neighbor kids always know that whatever they come selling, whether it's for school or whether it's for Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts or, football or whatever, they know that me and my wife are just suckers for helping kids out. And so, I think I bought 10 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. Just because that's how I am. And if some other girl comes over and tries to sell us, I'll probably buy 10 more because that's just how we are. So yeah, we're all the kids know that the Johnsons will support them in whatever they do. And I think if you can, that's what you should do. I think you should support kids, even if the Girl Scouts really is just slave labor for some cookie company, but whatever. They get a couple dollars out of it and maybe get to go on a trip to St. Louis or something. Who knows? But, it's cool. I'm really into Thin Mints. I'm really into Samoas. I like just the plain shortbread ones, but these shortbread with the chocolate on the back, These are the bomb, man. I like that, especially with coffee in the morning. So, that's it for today. Hey, you guys, I really appreciate you coming to the Morning Night Live every day. Those of you who are here are my regulars. Remember, right down there, there's a share arrow. If you're looking on a computer screen or if you're on a phone, you got to pull the chat away and there's an arrow that says share. That's the biggest thing you can do to help me. Also, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at Dawg Knight, no spaces. Or and also I have Streamlabs. Since if you ever feel like donating or actually throwing a couple shekels at me, that would be great. I'm going to start doing this on the regular for a long time, and hopefully we'll get a big audience and make it fun for you. And if you like what we're doing, please, don't hesitate. But that's not necessary. You don't have to. I'm just happy that you're here and you share and help me grow. So again, thank you so much for coming. My name is, oh, wait, what else was I going to say? I was going to say something else before that. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for coming. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. The Morning Night with Dawg Knight. My name is Dawg Knight, and I am out of here.